And the one thing that Rodgers will do, Rodgers will look Arthur Smith in the face and tell him, look, man, this dude that we're trying to put at number 2, he ain't gonna work. This dude at the
Right.
slot ain't gonna work, bro. You know, you're gonna have to go get me a dude. He'll look him in the face. He'll look Mike Tomlin in the face and tell him that. You know, and
Yeah.
so that the more time he's there, the more opportunity we can find out what we have in wide receiver 2 and 3 to see if they're actually going to work. Because I'm sold on DK. I'm sold. DK's a way big improvement for GP.
Yeah,
But
he's better than him.
but Rodgers got to know. Now I think he's going to be okay with the tight end room. I think he's going to be okay with the running backs and with WR1. But Rodgers coming in early gives us an opportunity to check out what's going on with wide receiver 2 and with wide receiver 3 going into the 2025 season, bro.
Yeah, that was the one thing is because Rodgers will tell him the truth. And he'll say, hey, guys, look, the wide receiver 2, that's not going to work. You know, slot guy or whoever it is, this isn't going to work. You know, I mean, and that's the only thing about coming in early that he can find all that stuff out and see, you know. But here's another thing. Maybe they didn't work because of who the quarterbacks were previously. Maybe Aaron Rodgers can say, hey, you need to run it like this. You need to run the route like that. And maybe the guys will step up. I don't know. But maybe that, I mean, it's a possibility, which again brings us to what we're talking about next is the wide receiver 2 battle. You know, as much as we don't like the attitude off the field of Aaron Rodgers, the guy's smart. He knows football. He knows how to break down a defense. He knows how to read a defense. You know, nobody can ever question those things about Aaron Rodgers. You know, so it doesn't do any good. It's not even realistic for people to do that because it's just not the truth. Having said all of that, who's available? Valid questions or valid options are limited right now. Who are you thinking, man? What should the Steelers do at wide receiver 2, in your opinion, Big G, as of right now? What should we do?
I'm not changing my opinion. I told you several weeks ago, and I'm sticking to it. They need to call New Orleans and get Chris Olave out of New Orleans. They can listen. I don't. You might say, man, it doesn't make any sense. Give them a second round pick. They can't turn that down. They're in a complete rebuild. Give them our second round for next year. Hell, you got 3/3. You got a first. If you want to get back in the second, you can next year. You got 3/3.
Correct.
Give them that second round pick. They won't turn that down, man. There's no way
Right.
they're in a complete rebuild. And say, look, come on, give us Olave. I think if they do that, it's easy. But, you know, Omar Khan, you know, he does that 3-card money, sleight of hand deal, and he tries to fleece everybody. So this is the one time, Omar Khan, stop with the fleecing, bro. Go on ahead and send that second round pick down there to New Orleans and send that boy up here, man. And let's get it jumping. Let's get it. I mean, I like maybe one or two other guys a little bit, but because there's wide receiver rooms that are crowded. Indianapolis wide receiver room is super crowded. Adnan Mitchell, Dobbs, Pittman, Pierce. That 4 dudes is not going to play. So they're going to have to give up one of those guys. So maybe you go over to Nap and try to fleece one of those guys out of there. But for my money, go get Olave. Go get him, bro. Go get him. Just stop playing around with it, man.
You see our man CID, and there's a lot of people in the chat are worried about Olave's history, his injury history, and having the concussions. And that's a real thing. That's a real thing. He's had a lot. He's had a lot of concussions. So, but I've said this, and I agree with you. If the Steelers want to do that, I'm not sure that New Orleans is going to trade him because being in a full rebuild, you still need to have a decent football team to put out there. And he's a really good football player that can help. So I don't think that the New Orleans is actually even going to trade him. I think the Steelers may have called, and maybe they'll call back. But you're right as far as a second round pick. It makes sense. I've been saying it. Hey, sometimes you got to pay for good players. Yeah. And he's a really good player. So, you know, and just like you said, some people are worried, well, what about moving up in the draft to get a quarterback? I don't think the Steelers are going to need to move up in the draft to get a quarterback. There's so many of them coming out. They're not going to have to move up. They're not. I mean, where are people thinking that they're going to move up to? Like, do you think if the Steelers, just say they're the same spot that they were this year, 21, you think the Steelers are going to go up from 21 to 5? in the draft. They're not going to do that, man.
Hell
They're
no.
not going
Hell
to give
no.
up 3 first-round picks for that. They're not going to do that.
Hell
They've
no.
got other things. So
Mhm.
it's I don't know. I mean, if they went up from 21 to 14, they're still giving up a first-round pick and maybe a third-round pick. Okay, but that's it. But to try to move up
No.
into the top 5, the Steelers are giving away a minimum of 3 first-round picks. Again, that's if they're picking where they picked this year. Now, we don't know exactly where they're going to be. We'll
Yeah.
find all that out.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense to try to go to get Olave. I'm in on Olave. The chat is kind of half and half on it. The
Mhm.
chat is like, well, we like Olave, but we don't want to give up a second round pick. And then, well, it's it makes sense to go get him, but he's had the injury history. The injury history for me is a real thing. I'm more concerned about that, the injury history, than I am the second round pick. To be honest
But
with you, I could care less about the second round pick because you use second round picks to do what? To get good football players. Well, Olave is a good football player. Okay.
yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
he's 24. He's not
Yeah.
29. He's not 31. He's 24 years old.
Yeah.
So, and if you got him on your football team this year, technically you could control him for the next 4 seasons if you wanted to, if you
Mhm.
franchised him twice. So
Mhm.
you could literally do that if you wanted.
Yeah.
So keep all of that in mind. But it's the concussions is the part. But more than that, I don't think Olave is really realistic. I just don't think New Orleans is going to trade him. I just don't believe that they're going to do that. I know what you're saying, that they can't turn it down. Well, they can. They can.
Yeah.
So it's
But
just,
realistically,
yeah,
if Olave's on New Orleans team, that ain't gonna stop them from going 3-14, two and
probably not.
15,
Probably
1
not.
and whatever. That he's not that big of a difference maker for that team because they're so horrible. They don't have enough to even really compete. If New Orleans wins 4 games, I'm
Yeah.
shocked. If they win
Their
4
problem
games this season,
is
I'm shocked.
their quarterback, but they got
Mhm.
some weapons. They got decent weapons. It's just who's the quarterback going to be, I think, is the problem.
Yeah.
Kind of like us.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell's the quarterback going to be? You talk
Yeah.
about weapons, but they got a few. But also, their offensive line is bad. Now, if the Steeler
Horrible.
fans think that our offensive line is bad, their offensive line is atrocious. So
Yeah.
it's risky business there. Risky business.
And B, I heard the live chat over there talking about Amari Cooper, Jaden Day. Amari Cooper got a bigger injury history than dang on Chris Olave. Amari Cooper got like 2 concussions, shoulder toe up, knee toe up, elbow toe up. Come on, man. Gabe Davis, he ain't signed with nobody right now because he's hurt. That's why he ain't signed with nobody. So I mean, if you're to pry a number 1 wide receiver out of any franchise, even a legitimate high-ranking number 2, you're not going to Philadelphia and getting Devin Smith. You're not going to Miami and getting Jalen Waddle. You're not going to do that. You're not even going to hell. You're not going to go to Los Angeles and get Puka Nakua or Devontae Adams. You're not going to go get one of those guys. So you have to realistically look, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying the chat. You got
No,
to
I get it.
realistically look at who you can go get. Olave is a legitimate target on a team that's failing and falling apart. If the Saints don't have the number 1 pick in the draft, the draft is rigged because they're that bad of an organization. The only way that the Saints can't get the number 1 pick is because the Brownies got 2 first rounds and they can turn that into a number 1 pick. But outside of that, the Saints is the worst team in the league, bro. So get up off your
Yeah.
assets and get a dude in the building that's going to help us win.
Absolutely. Nope,
Mm.
you're right. I mean, I know we like to go back and forth from time to time, but when you're right, you're right. So, Steeler Girl joined in the chat today. We appreciate you, Steeler Girl. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate you. But yeah, it's just tough. It's
Mm-hmm.
tough. And CID's right. Nobody wants Amari Cooper. Look, and the thing about Amari Cooper that nobody talks about, they talk about it all the time here in Dallas. Amari
Mm-hmm.
was a locker room issue in Dallas. It
Yeah.
just wasn't public. He was a
Yeah.
locker room issue. He didn't get along with Jerry Jones. He didn't get along with Dak Prescott. He didn't get along with CeeDee Lamb. He was a locker room problem in
Yeah.
Dallas. That's why
Yeah.
they got rid of him for a 5th round pick. It was like, no, he's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why he isn't anywhere now, because people are like,
Facts.
we really want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do we want to deal with that? Mr. Alonzo Dunn said, just look at Tua. Olave could be one hit away from mandatory retirement. Wilson, Austin, Rodgers make DK look like Devontae. Rodgers is the secret sauce. I mean, he just might be, man. I know there's a lot of people that just say, no, we don't want Rodgers. We don't. But at some point, I get it that he's made us look like idiots. But
Mhm.
we have to come to the realization he makes the Steelers better. He is
Facts.
a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph.
Mhm.
He just is, people. He just
Mhm.
is. And as much as you fight it, as much as you want to deny it, as much as you just want to hate it, I'm in the same boat with you. I'm in this.
Mhm.
I don't want him to be better, but
Mhm.
he is. And
Mhm.
you all know my philosophy. I don't care who the quarterback is. It could be a damn zebra out there running around. As long as he can read the defense and get the ball out of his hands quick, I'll take it. Whoa, we just got a new member. Just got a new member. Blingzoid just became a
Blinkzoids.
member. We appreciate you, man. We
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
you, man. Thanks for
Yeah.
supporting the channel. So,
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
but yeah, that's the whole thing. We
Mhm.
just have to figure out, just have to win.
Mhm.
Topaz makes a good point. He said we can't choose who we play. Mason was in the Bills playoff game.
Mhm.
Okay. But we lost that game. Now I'm not saying it was his fault,
Mhm.
but we did lose. But Rodgers is better than him. He just
Facts.
is, man. He just
Yeah.
is. Again, I'm with you. I don't want to like it. I don't want to like it at all.
Mhm.
But do we want to win football games?
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of you that say no, but he's better.
Yeah.
He's better. Now,
Yeah.
Felicia brings up a point here. She says, really, are we just accepting the options at QB because the situation is being forced on us? We don't have a choice, Felicia.
That's
So,
facts.
yeah. Well, I mean, we literally don't have a choice,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to accept it.
Mhm.
We have to. I get what you're saying, though. You don't like it. You don't like it. I don't like it. G don't. None of us like it.
Mm-mm.
But we have to accept it because this is where we are. The Steelers decided to be the begging side piece that got dumped. And because we got dumped, this is where we are. Now we're begging just for anything. Hey, don't leave me. No, I'll do anything to be by your side. Anything. I'll accept anything. That's what he's made the Steeler fans, and I am just beside myself, Big G. Beside
B,
myself.
it's like they at the Motown stair steps. You know how, like back in the day, they would have a
Yes.
four-man part harmony and five-man part
Yes.
harmony. You got Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, Andy Waddle. The offensive line is the backup singers, and they just please don't leave me, girl. Like the Temptations. Like, come on now, come on into the building. So, but we should have known it because they did it last year with Brandon Ayuk. They did it with Ayuk
They
last
sure
year.
did.
We should know this is how the Steelers gonna operate until we land the franchise quarterback. So just get used to it, Steelers. It's temptation harmony. Temptation, five heartbeats, temptation, all them old school, five heartbeats wasn't even a real group. But the four tops, all them other old school groups, they at the doorstep just at Aaron Rodgers serenading him, trying to get him to come on out of the building.
Yeah, that's all it
Mm-hmm.
is. That's all
Mm-hmm.
it is. So we'll see. Mark Malone's fed up. He's upset now.
Oh
Now
Lord.
he's saying we're idiots. But
Come on, Mark.
the
Come
bottom
on now,
line
Mark.
is, yeah, I know he's on Thunderbird. He gets because he doesn't want Aaron Rodgers. He wants Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. He really wants Will Howard, and I get it. I
Mm-hmm.
get it.
Yeah.
But it is the same thing. Brenda, you're right. The Jets thought the same thing, and it didn't work. Jets had more problems than Aaron Rodgers, though. Like
Facts.
you can't blame all of the Jets' problems and say, well, it was Aaron Rodgers. Now, I agree. The Jets just thought, okay, we got this shitty offensive line,
Mm-hmm.
and we got one weapon outside before they went and got Devontae. They got rid of the defensive head coach, who was a great defensive coordinator for them, and made him good. They
Mm-hmm.
fire him early on, and they thought, well, we'll just plug in Aaron Rodgers and everything will be fine. Well, it wasn't fine because one
Facts.
of the reasons is because the year Aaron Rodgers was hurt, the Jets defense was great.
Mm-hmm.
The defense wasn't great last year,
Mm-mm.
and he wasn't good enough to get him over the hump. I'm not saying he had a terrible year. He just wasn't good enough to be the difference. But I
Facts.
get it. I
Mhm.
get it.
Yeah.
We just gotta. I mean, this is where we are. This is
Mhm.
where we are. We don't have to like it, but we do have to accept it.
Facts.
You have to accept it.
Yeah.
So I just I just think this is where we're at. But the main thing is wide receiver two. What are we
Mhm.
gonna do? Is Roman Wilson gonna be the guy? Is he gonna step up? Because basically he had no rookie year. He basically had a redshirt year. Calvin Austin the third. Um, look, I just can't see Calvin Austin the third being a wide receiver too. I can see him
Mhm.
being in the slot. That's where he's
Mhm.
good. That's where he needs to be. Robert Woods. Robert Woods is long in the tooth, a
Mhm.
veteran, a great locker room guy, and willing to do the dirty work, but he's not a wide receiver two anymore. That's
Mm-mm.
just not what I mean. If you're expecting Robert Woods to come in and catch 45 to 60 passes for you this year, you're insane. Because that
Mhm.
I mean that is not what he's capable of doing. And then our man Old Rock Taylor, undrafted free agent out of Memphis. I think he's got a shot to win the job or to make the roster. Let me back up. I think he's got
Mhm.
a shot to make the roster. And if he does, great. I'm happy
Mhm.
about it. But
Mhm.
again, we're putting all of our if people are upset that we're putting all this trust in a 6th-round pick and Will Howard thinking that he's going to be the next guy, well, what are we saying about a guy, an undrafted free agent? If we're
Right.
putting all our trust in that to be
Right.
a wide receiver too. We found that out, Big G, last year with Beanie Bishop early in the season. That didn't work out so well. And even
Fact.
late in the season, it didn't work out so well. So
Yep.
so
Well,
well that they replaced Beanie Bishop this year with Brandon Eccles.
quick, fast, in a hurry, B. Now listen, this the whole thing though. This gives us full circle with the conversation. This is why Rogers needs to come in. Because Rogers is going to tell us real quick, fast, and hurry if Roman Wilson is the number two. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where a lot of the Steelers, the upper level management Steelers brass, they're like, we spent a third round pick on this kid. We got to give him an opportunity to be a number two. If Rogers is in the building, Rogers can tell you quick, fast, and hurry if he's one. If he's not one, can look over at the coaches, coaching staff, management, say, nah, bro, we not get him out of here, but we got to go get us one because this dude can't handle
Right.
that position. I don't know if Mason can do that. And I damn for sure know Will Howard can't do it, bro. Will Howard can't tell them Roman Wilson is a number two. Mason, I don't think he can do it either. But who can tell him is Rogers. So if Rogers is in early in the building, we're going to find out about Roman Wilson real quick, fast, in a hurry. Is he a legit number two that was a third round draft pick? Or do we need to move to go get a number two for our wide receiver room, bro? That's the move.
Mr. Woodside has it right. He said that Aaron Rodgers is going to ask for Lazard,
Okay,
and the Steelers would be stupid. I mean, you could go get Alan Lazard for a 7th-round pick. I mean, you're not
correct.
going to have to give up anything for him. You can go get him for a 7th-round pick. I mean, they
Correct.
just redid his contract for him to stay. I mean, I'm pretty sure, you know, I think that would be something that they would do, you
Yeah.
know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd like it. Let me ask you this, and
Mhm.
chat, get involved here. We said this last year, and it didn't come to fruition. Can the tight end room actually be more involved to take a lot of pressure off a wide receiver too? Can we
Oh.
involve the tight end more to do that? Can the Steelers do that, G?
They can be, but it depends on who's playing quarterback. See, the issue, listen, this is the issue with our scheme. B, you watch more all 22 film than I do, and I watch a lot, bro. Right? So you know from a schematic standpoint, it wasn't that people wasn't open in the middle of the field.
No, they
On,
were.
on go routes, on 7-man curls, on comeback routes,
They
on cross
were.
routes, they were open. The
They were open.
quarterback wouldn't throw the ball into the middle of the field. Well,
That's
ladies and
right.
gentlemen, guess where the tight ends eat at? Because see, this is the deal. You have to play cover, you have to play double up a guy with safety help on one side, and then you walk the safety down on the other side if you feel like there's not a second wide receiver, right? Therefore, that opens up the seam routes on both sides, towards the hash, outside the hash. It opens up the seam.
Yeah.
So if the quarterback is can see and throw the ball in those soft spots, Because I promise you, nobody in the world is foolish enough to go one-on-one with DK Metcalf. I don't give a damn who's playing corner. They're not foolish enough to do that. So you're going to get a cover two light scheme on one side and maybe a soft cover two where you bring the safety down to give support because you don't fear the other wide receiver. That's where our quarterback has to hurt the opposition. They have to be willing to throw the ball in the seam. Now, with this picture, Freiermuth is pretty fast, but the other two dudes are humongous. You need to throw Mount Washington and Pegram go balls. 167, 165. Throw it freaking out there, bro. And guess what? If they get a catch with some steam up underneath them, oh yeah, they're going to cause a problem. So as a composite, could the wide receiver two be spelled with these three tight ends all day and night? But the quarterback has to be willing to throw the ball in the seams and across the middle of the field, bro. That's the only way it's going to work.
That's the only way it's going to work. And I know Mike Tomlin has a lot to do with that, but I feel like if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, he's going to throw the football to where people are open. He's not going, because it's like you said, we do the all 22 every single week during the season. Make sure you guys check that out. But we do an all 22 every single week. And there were so many times where Justin Fields, when he was in there the first 6 games, guys are open in the middle of the field, and Justin Fields is actually looking at them, and he just doesn't throw the football. He gets his drop, he gets to the top of the drop, he looks at them, they're open, and he doesn't throw the ball. And I'm like, what are you doing? Throw the football. Freiermuth, Calvin Austin, George Pickens. It was all of them. Shallow crosses, all these things. He just wouldn't throw the football. And I'm like, well, damn, if you're not going to throw the football when the guys are open in the middle of the field, but it wasn't just him. It was Russell Wilson too. Russell Wilson would drop back, and you could see Pickens about to break open, even on quick slants. And you're like, yeah, just get him the football. Get him the football. Let him, maybe he breaks a tackle. Nope, not going to throw it. I'm going to throw it somewhere else. So it was, and again, I'm not a pile on Mike Tomlin type of guy, but when your head coach comes out and says that it's more risky to throw the ball over the middle of the field, and then a component of keeping the football is us not throwing the ball. So, for us to have a component of moving the ball, it's just safer not to throw. I don't want to hear those Tomlinisms, Mike Tomlin. Throw the damn ball over the middle of the field. I just don't want to hear it. Like I said, I don't like to pile on Mike Tomlin. You know how I am, Big G. But when he's wrong, he's wrong. And damn it, he was wrong. He was just wrong. You can't be afraid to throw the ball over the middle of the field. Not if you're trying to win.
Right.
Not if you're trying to win.
Right. It softens up. Listen, we know DK is going to be the primary. If you throw the ball over the middle of the field 3 or 4 times and you burn them 2 or 3 times, DK is eventually going to get a single up. And then B, we know how football works. At that point, all you got to do is put him in motion. At that point, when the middle of the field is open, all you got to do is put DK in motion because the safety is going to move. And when the safety moves, now somebody's on that opposite seam running wide open up the seam, bro. So you have to throw the ball in the middle. It's just as important as play action passing. It's just as important as being able to run the ball consistently. You take one component of the game away by not throwing the ball into the middle of the field. So in Arthur Smith's offense, that's a huge component because where Arthur Smith's come from, he utilizes the tight end. We have 3 big, huge ones right there. All of them, maybe Freiermuth can't block that well, but the other 2, they like tackles. And they can run and they can catch. So yeah, we got to go to the middle of the field, bro. We got to do it, man. There's no other way.
Absolutely. So Walter brought up a good point here. He said he'd rather have 30 10-yard plays than one 60-yard play. I mean, you couldn't have said it any better because number one, you get all these 10-yard plays. You know what that does? It keeps your defense on the sideline so they can be fresh. It keeps your defense on the sideline. And how many times as a Steeler fan are we like, man, the defense is worn out. Offense, the first 5 drives, they went 4 3-and-outs. Just stay on the field a little bit, man. Just stay on the damn field. So, but to break this wide receiver 2 down, this whole discussion, you know what? I'm going to say this. He hasn't shown it, but if the Steelers don't make a move, which I don't know, people. I really don't know if they're, I think it's 50-50 on whether they do.
Yeah.
I think the guy, and I said it last year, and I'm going to stick with it, and hopefully it comes to fruition. I believe that it's Roman Wilson.
Mm.
I believe that it's Roman Wilson. Now, I get it. Chat's probably going to eat me up. He hadn't shown anything. I understand all of it. But he
Mhm.
blocks. He is a good route runner. He can catch. I just think last year, he just, whatever reason, he got hurt twice, and maybe mentally he wasn't it. And I could be totally wrong. He could just be a bust. He could
Mhm.
literally be a bust. But
Mhm.
I'm going to stay faithful. Y'all know how I am. I can just be wrong, but
Mhm.
I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to stay with it.
I hope he's not,
I'm
B.
going to say it's him.
I hope he's not. I really hope he's not. Listen, he came off winning a college football national championship. You know, he played like 16 freaking games.
He
And
did.
then he had to prepare for the combine. Then he got drafted. Then he's right away back then. His body never, he's only 190 something pounds. His body
Yeah.
never really even had time to even get right because they went on a hell of a run in Michigan, bro. So maybe that's contributing to it. Might be the same difference with Fautano. They was in the college football playoff. So it might have been that extended season in college didn't have him ready for the pro. So Roman Wilson might be that dude, B. He might be that dude.
He just might be. Super chat here by our man Steeler Lee says Caleb Johnson running the ball could open up the wide receivers and tight ends. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You know, because again, I think the offensive line is going to be better. I
Yeah.
just believe the offensive line is going to be better.
Yeah.
So
Facts. I agree.
we'll see. We'll see. But Rob, who's whining about Mike Tomlin? I don't think anybody's whining. Just because people tell the truth about Mike Tomlin doesn't mean people are whining. So,
Mm-mm.
but sorry,
Rob Lightfoot
we're
said
always
that.
going to
Rob
tell the
Lightfoot.
truth here.
Come on,
Yeah.
Rob.
No,
Come on, Rob.
I don't know who it is. It's
All right.
Robbo.
Oh, I don't know him.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we just tell the truth about Mike Tomlin. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all good.